You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty and Apia. Now, there is an increase in terrorism scare all over the world. And though Ghana has been spared so far, attacks in neighboring countries and alerts issued by foreign missions here, among others, triggered a counter-terrorism simulation exercise last month, codenamed Exercise Home Shield. And that was basically to test Ghana's preparedness for any such occurrence. Well, as the country strengthens its bilateral ties with Germany, it appears there's more that we can learn from the German experience with terrorism as they commemorate the December 19, 2016 terrorist attack in which a truck was deliberately driven into a crowd, killing 12 people and injuring more than 50. Thomas Sparrow joins me as usual from Germany. Thomas, there's been some important lessons learned from the German terrorism attack last year. Tell us a bit more about it.
Germany is in fact still learning from that terrorist attack a year ago, and it's learning in particular in two areas. One is obviously security, how to deal with these types of situations, how to better monitor potential terrorists. Those are areas where Germany is still learning, still trying to improve. And a second area, also a very important area, is how to deal with the victims and the relative of victims once an attack has happened. Germany, before this attack in December, had also been spared a major terrorist attack. There had been smaller incidents, so this situation was comparatively new to Germany as well. So that's also why Germany has all this year been having a very, very intense debate on what should happen in the country and how the country should move forward when it comes to anti-terrorism measures on the one hand, on the other hand, obviously helping the victims and the relatives of those who were affected by the attack.
But we also know that there's been some controversies surrounding the attack and how security agencies in Germany actually handled it. What did they not do right?
Well, Anis Amri, the attacker from Tunisia, was well known to authorities before the attack. He was known as a petty criminal. That it was also known that he had contacts to the Islamist scene, to the so-called Islamic State, and yet authorities failed to deport him in the first place. They also failed to prevent the attack from happening, and this has been one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why there has been a lot of controversy in Germany about the role security agencies played back then in trying to prevent the attack and have played since in trying to prevent this from happening. Again, there are a series of measures that have been put in place, again trying to better monitor potential terrorists, for example, with ankle tags, for example, with public surveillance, for example, with a much more visible police presence. Those are all elements that have been changing since the attack in December, but there's still a lot of controversy. There's still a lot of problems that German security officials have to deal with when it comes to analyzing the situation last December and when it comes to preventing it from happening again.
Well, it's been almost a year now, and for the victims, they're going to have to relive what happened a year ago, and that's going to be very painful. What have they been saying about the situation and what has happened after the attack?
The victims, in fact, have been very critical of the government. The relatives of the victims wrote an open letter to Chancellor Angela Merkel in which they really criticized her handling of the situation. They said, for example, that the attack was a tragic consequence of the political inaction of her government, and they said that the help they have received since the attack, both emotionally and financially, has not lived up to their expectations. And in fact, again, that has been something that the government is trying to change. There was a report presented not long ago in which it became clear that the government has to present centers, for example, to help victims, also online platforms to try and provide information, that it has to increase the money that it gives victims and those affected by terror situations. So those are other areas where the government is obviously going to handle. And in fact, as a reaction to that open letter and to the criticism that the government has received throughout this year, Angela Merkel is said to be meeting some of the relatives before the main event next Tuesday. She also paid a visit to the site of the attack yesterday. So this also is a sign that the government is increasingly working with the the relatives, who are very critical, as I said, to try and improve the situation of those who were affected.
But so when are they commemorating the day? Is it going to be on the 19th of December, or is it going to be any time this weekend? What exactly is being done to commemorate the day?
No, the event, the main event will be on the 19th of December, in other words, next Tuesday. That's the exact 1-year anniversary since the attack happened in Breitscheidplatz. That's the name of the Christmas market, and there will obviously be a ceremony there where most of the most important political figures in Germany will be attending. There will be a memorial also unveiled to mark the place where this happened. But this also comes as well with the measures that we've been discussing here, the measures to try and improve the situations of the victims, the political measures as well, the meeting that has been announced between Angela Merkel and the relatives of those affected. So the main event will be on the 19th, but there has been a series of situations and events also beforehand leading to that main anniversary on the 19th of December.
So for an African country, like I mentioned earlier, here in Ghana, we've not had any such attacks, but we've been spared. But then what are the key lessons that Ghana, for example, can draw from the German experience?
I would say lessons in 3 areas. On the one hand, work closely not only internally but also with other countries, because this is above all an international challenge. A second aspect, if there is someone that the authorities believe could carry out such an attack, monitor this person in an uninterrupted way. That was something that, for example, German authorities failed to do with Anis Amri, the Tunisian attacker. And a third aspect, even before an attack happens, make sure that there are elements in place to try and help potential victims once an attack has happened. That can be online, that can be centers to try and assist them. So there are a series of measures that can be taken even before an attack has happened, that when it happens, at least victims can receive immediate, if not at least quick assistance to try and improve their situation, if that's at all possible after such an incident.
All right, thank you very much, Thomas, for that. In the meantime, your president, the German president is here in Ghana, and we've been having talks with, our president has been having talks with him as well, just so you know. Thank you very much. Thomas Sparrow is political correspondent with our partners DW, bringing us up to speed. Actually, this is what we do every Wednesday. We do a crossover to Germany. So that's it for our crossover today to Germany.